They came into our community and infested it with their hatred. Hey sweethearts, it's Nick Venus. Once again, tapping in. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on all post notifications so you can be notified every time I upload. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about both sides of the coin. I'm going to be talking about how I lived and experienced both sides of the coin. So girl, and this has a lot to do with transphobia, and discrimination and shit. So basically, I always knew that I was transgender since the age of 5. I always knew that. In junior high school, up into high school, it was like, I was always, subconsciously brainwashed into believing that people that are transgender or gay or anything like that are, less than, or they should feel ashamed of themselves or whatever. So I wouldn't really embrace my femininity, at first. I wouldn't embrace my femininity. I was doing like the complete opposite. Like literally, imagine I was literally purposely doing the most masculine things that you could think of. Thinking that it would change me and make me into a normal guy, but it never did, girl. And I realized, if you're truly transgender, you pretty much forever be transgender. That shit does not go away. So anyways, I remember in high school, in junior high school and high school, I hung around with a lot of guys. Some of them were friends, some of them were like cousins, some of them my brothers, but I hung around with a lot of guys, at the time. And I just remember, they would be talking shit, they would talk shit about gay people, they would talk shit about trans people, mind you, at the time, you would rarely see a trans woman, but if we would see one, they would just start talking shit, so it kind of subliminally programs you into thinking that shit is normal. So you start to believe that, okay, they're how can I say it? You start to believe they're good and trans women are evil or some shit, so I wouldn't be talking shit. Obviously I knew I was trans, but I wouldn't say nothing. But then later on, after high school and stuff, and I got a little bit older, when I started working graveyard is when I started finding myself. I started spending time by myself. And mind you, the only way to find yourself is to spend time by yourself. So yeah, when I started working graveyard, that's when I started expressing my femininity. I started, going on YouTube and stuff and looking up transgender videos and all types of stuff. That's when I started my whole transition. And and I had to get rid of old friends. I'm not about to hang out with them because they're transphobic, they're prejudiced. So at the time, I would do everything by myself. Literally, I was always by myself. I would go places by myself. The first time I ever was in public, with makeup and stuff, I was by myself. Literally, I would literally force myself into uncomfortable situations so I can get over my insecurities and stuff like that. It's I built myself up from the ground up, girl. From being laughed at, from being basic to be one of the baddest in the club. I worked myself up by myself. But then I got to a certain level where I'm okay, now I'm I feel comfortable enough. I'm pretty decent with makeup, I'm good at, dressing and stuff. I'm okay, I can't just be by myself. So I'm okay, let me try to find other trans women, to be around. So I remember I remember looking up online, they only had 2 places that transgender women would go in my city. It was a bar and a club. And literally all the trans women would go there. It was literally a place that was known for trans women. And literally that's the only place trans women would go, is that particular bar, and there was a particular club. So I was like, girl, let me go there, because I feel like, okay, obviously we're going through the same struggles. You know, we have a lot of shit in common, and they're most likely going to accept me for me. And, you know, and I always was like kind of quiet. You know, I was always like the quiet girl. And so, you know, I went there, and, you know, like at first I was like quiet and stuff, and I started, you know, making more friends, and I became pretty popular in there, you know. And the next thing you know, I had like a bunch of homegirls, you know, a bunch of transgender friends, you know, LGBT friends and stuff. So like I said, I go back to experiencing both sides of the coin. The trans women that I was hanging out with and LGBT people, they would never, ever talk about cisgendered heterosexual men and women. Literally, they wouldn't say shit about them. So they wouldn't say a damn word about them. You know, so for the longest, I was brainwashed. I was subliminally brainwashed into thinking that cisgendered heterosexual men and women that are, you know, discriminated against trans women are the good ones. And the trans women, LGBT, are the bad ones. But then I experienced both sides of the coin, and I realized that shit was a damn lie. The whole time, the bully was over there. I was hanging with the bullies and didn't even know it. When I first, you know, started looking on YouTube and stuff, you can literally go on Google search or YouTube, you know, and type in you know, a keyword, trans, and I remember there'd be a whole list of transgender videos of actual trans women. You know, some of them talk about makeup, some of them talking about relationships, you know, like a bunch of things. So I would, and it's funny though, girl. It's like you would think I would be looking at the you know, the famous trans women, but I was only watching 2 channels, I believe it was 2 or 3 channels, and all of them were under 3,000 subscribers. So I was watching the trans women that weren't even famous, but they had like the best videos. So I was watching them all the time, you know, and like getting inspired and, you know, learning things. At the time, I could literally type in trans in the YouTube and Google keyword search, and a list of actual trans women will pop up. But nowadays, you go on YouTube and type up trans, 85 to 90% of it is full of cisgendered women and men that are transphobic and prejudiced. Literally, it's like you have to look for the trans women. You can't even find trans women. And I'm like thinking, how the hell did these cisgendered men and women infest our community? Literally, they infested it with hatred and prejudice. You know, like, I don't even know how the hell it happened. They talk about us more than we talk about us. So girl, I realized the same ones that I used to hang out with, that used to bully trans women and gay men, are now on the internet. Those are the same ones that are on the internet bullying everybody. So girl, when I was in junior high, like 7th grade, I was getting out of 6th grade, 7th grade, they didn't even have internet. I don't even think we had MySpace. We had like AOL or some shit. I think people didn't even know what MySpace was. Like maybe like a few people were on MySpace. So we didn't even have social media at the time. So essentially the same ones that used to bully trans women back then are now on social media, behind a keyboard, behind a phone and a laptop, bullying us. And the whole damn time, these people are the damn villains. The whole time. So what they did is they subconsciously brainwashed society into thinking that trans women are wicked or evil or whatever. I seen a video recently, I don't know, I just typed in trans and I'm just like going through the list, you know. And there's a lady on there and it says something about transgender and dating. And the lady's not transgender. And the whole video, like, I'm just, you know, just being nosy, you know, like, what is this? You know, the whole video, she's just disrespecting the hell out of the trans women. Like, oh, he this, sir this, man this, you know, disrespecting the hell out of this trans woman. And then the trans woman says something about, oh, I'm confident with myself. I know I'm attractive. And she's talking shit like, oh, these trans women are ugly. They need filters. And the whole gag is, this is the whole gag. That lady was a 3. That lady was literally a 3 out of 10 talking mad crap about a trans woman. Like, this woman was so damn disrespectful. Girl, I had to leave. I was like, girl, let me get the hell out of here. But first, before I left, I read a little bit through the comments, right? And they're talking shit too. And they're saying, why don't these trans women just detransition? You know, she was saying the same thing. Why don't you just detransition and leave our men alone? And I'm like, aha.
Bingo, bango.
Bingo, bango.
That's why y'all want trans women to detransition, because you're insecure. You're insecure and you're always trying to compete. You're insecure because you know that the same men that you date, a lot of them date trans women. You know that the same men that you have sex with, a lot of them will have sex with trans women. That's why you want trans women to detransition, because you are insecure. It has nothing to do with gatekeeping womanhood. I mean, maybe to some degree, to some of them it does, but it has everything to do with insecurities. Like, the woman was so disrespectful, so rude, so masculine, like, ugh. I was thinking like, girl, the reason why you can't find a man isn't because of a trans woman. The reason why you can't find a man is because of you. Like, for real. Oh my goodness. I felt embarrassed for her. I was like, ugh. I got to experience both sides of the coin, and I can honestly say that that is what's going on, you know? And somehow, some way, they came into our community. They came into our community and infested it with their hatred. I'm thinking like, girl, that shit was crazy, because when I was hanging out with the transgender women and LGBT people, you know, none of them even mentioned cisgender biological women and men. None of them even talked about straight people. It was like a place that you can go to be yourself, you know? It was just full of positivity. Everybody was just, you know, so inviting. And the whole damn time, the straight people is talking mad shit about the trans people. But the trans people are like in their own world. You know, they're not even fazed by them. They're not even bothered by them. So I'm thinking, honestly, how in the heck did it come to this? How in the world did these same bullies infiltrate our community? And after they infiltrated our community, they brainwashed society, because society is subconsciously easy to brainwash into thinking trans women are like these wicked, evil people, which we're not. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for future content. And until next time, guys.